Craig Conover sheds new light on his romantic life and being single at 37. Months after his breakup with Summer House's Paige DeSorbo, Craig Conover spoke candidly about his re-entry into single life and its effect on his self-image. The Southern Charm cast member confessed that being romantically unattached prompted internal questions about his life purpose, as he always assumed he would be married with kids by the time he was 37. Craig Conover shares his honest thoughts about his single life. "I'm coming into a stage in my life where I don't know what my purpose is. It's funny. It's an odd way to feel," he said in the May 27 episode of the Two Fake Seals podcast. "I don't know. What am I here for? It's too existential for this convo. But finding myself single at 37, and nothing against that, I'm just saying that I think I was just like, oh, I'm gonna have a family." He continued, "What I mean is that now, all of a sudden, I'm only answering to myself. So what do I do with my time to make it count?" Craig Conover says he would love to have a family someday. The interview took place during a May event for Hope for the Warriors, a national nonprofit that provides long-term resources for veterans, service members, and their families. In 2024, Craig became a member of the organization's board council and has continued to use his platform and companies to support the nonprofit's overall mission. The Delaware native acknowledged he's had a lot of success in his career, but philanthropic work has become one of his most fulfilling ventures, as he enjoys spreading happiness and making people feel better. "I accomplished what I did it. I did what I wanted to do," he said, referring to his career. "I do one day, would love to have a family and stuff. So now it's like, okay, how do you make the most out of your time now?" According to the Hopes for Briefing on Bravo, Craig's Sewing Down South brand has donated more than $200,000 to charities around the world. The Southern Charmer encouraged other business owners to follow suit for both business and personal growth reasons. "Whatever the cause is, it's what drives me. It's why I work really hard at Sewing Down South, to make enough money to be able to help people," he said. "Take the business side out of it. It'll make you feel like a better person. If you're looking for purpose, go volunteer somewhere." Has Craig Conover started dating since his split from Paige DeSorbo? Craig didn't provide any more details about his dating life, but the comments suggested he was no longer in a relationship. During his March 27 appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, Craig confirmed he was romantically involved with someone special, but remained relatively tight-lipped. "Are you dating?" host Andy Cohen asked him. "I am, and I'm really happy," Craig replied. "You know, when I date, I tend to date only one person at a time, so I've been seeing someone. And I've been reminded that the universe works in crazy ways, and that everything happens for a reason." Threading the needle, Craig Conover at 37. The air in Charleston had a different texture in late spring, warmer, wetter, and strangely more honest. Craig Conover sat on the back porch of his modest but charming house, the kind of place that had seen too many late-night conversations and not enough peace. A gentle breeze fluttered the hem of his linen shirt, which hung open over a white tee. In one hand was a mug of black coffee, in the other his phone, which he kept flipping over and setting down again, like it might betray his vulnerability if he held it too long. The past few months had peeled him down to the frame. He glanced at the horizon, where the sky kissed the marshland in tones of coral and amber. The sounds of gulls echoed in the distance, and he found himself asking the question again, the one that had haunted him ever since his relationship with Paige DeSorbo had quietly, respectfully unraveled. "What am I here for?" It was too existential for most conversations he knew, especially the ones on Southern Charm or at charity galas. But the question had clawed at him like a stray cat since the breakup. At 37, Craig had once assumed he'd be married with a toddler wrapped around one leg and a second kiddo already picking out baby names for a future sibling. Instead, he was alone on a porch, asking the sky for direction. The unmaking. The end with Paige hadn't been dramatic. There was no slammed door, no sobbing on hardwood floors. It was more like a paper slowly tearing, a quiet realization that two people with genuine love were growing in directions that didn't always intersect. Craig had built a life around momentum, from his early days on Southern Charm to the courtroom battles he once thought would define him, and later, the vibrant pulse of Sewing Down South. He had never really stopped to ask what came after success. He remembered their last weekend together clearly. They'd been in Montauk. The beach was windswept and gray, and Paige had looked beautiful in a way that felt distant to him, like a painting you admire but don't quite understand anymore. Over dinner, she had asked him quietly, "What do you see this becoming?" And he hadn't known. "I don't want to hurt you by pretending I have an answer," he had told her. "I thought I did, but now I think I need to figure some things out." They left as friends, but Craig knew, some part of him knew, they'd reached the shore of their journey together. The silence that follows. Charleston nights were loud in their own way, cicadas humming like they had secrets to share, dogs barking distantly, and the occasional thump of a boat against a dock. But to Craig, it all sounded like silence. Being single at 37 didn't feel like failure. It felt like suspension, like the strings that held his life together were still taut, but now they dangled without purpose. "I always thought I'd be someone's person by now," he admitted during an episode of the Two Fake Seals podcast. His voice cracked slightly, the mask of Southern charm slipping. "I'm only answering to myself these days, and that's a weird adjustment. I've never really had to live entirely for me before." The confession surprised even him. When the episode aired, fans flooded his DMs. Messages ranged from support to shared stories, men and women, some older, some younger, who understood what it meant to arrive at a milestone year and feel behind. But Craig wasn't looking for pity, he was looking for purpose. Sewing purpose into the seams. If there was one place he still felt whole, it was in the Sewing Down South showroom. Bolts of fabric lined the walls like paint in an artist's studio. Pillows stacked in vibrant piles, each carrying a story stitched into its seams. He ran his hand over one with a teal flamingo design, one of their early bestsellers. He had built this. What started as a joke, a Bravo bro who sues, had grown into a multi-million-dollar business with retail presence and, more importantly, a mission. Over the past year, Sewing Down South had donated more than $200,000 to charities. That was real. That was impact. Craig found solace in the charitable work tied to his brand. He became a board member of Hope for the Warriors, a nonprofit supporting military families and veterans. It wasn't for the cameras. It wasn't for applause. It was the one place where his heart got to speak without judgment. "Volunteering reminds me I'm not the center of the universe," he told a group of veterans during a recent event in North Carolina. And maybe, just maybe, that's the point. If you're wondering what your life means, try helping someone else. It'll whisper the answer to you. Glimpses of something new. Andy Cohen had asked him point blank on Watch What Happens Live back in March, "Are you dating?" Craig's smile had been soft but sure. "I am, and I'm really happy. The universe works in weird ways, man." The relationship was new then, too fresh to define, too special to parade. Her name was Leah, and she wasn't from Bravo or Lay or any circle Craig usually orbited. She was a nurse practitioner who worked in trauma recovery and had met Craig during a Hope for the Warriors event. She hadn't known who he was at first, and hadn't cared when she found out. They talked for hours that night, mostly about their parents and the kind of music that made them cry. They didn't rush anything. Craig didn't want to drag old expectations into a new room. He liked Leah's calm. He liked that she challenged his ideas without belittling them. She didn't complete him, she just let him be himself, in full. But even with Leah, he was cautious. "I'm not trying to fill a Paige-shaped hole," he once told Shep over bourbon. I just want to walk into something new without pretending it's a fix. The middle space, somewhere between reflection and reinvention, Craig discovered he was okay living in the middle space. The pressure to have it all figured out by 37 had started to evaporate. Maybe he wouldn't follow the traditional path. Maybe marriage and kids would come at 40, maybe not at all. But either way, he could still create a life rich with meaning, connection, and joy. One morning, he woke up early, before the sunrise. He padded barefoot into the kitchen, poured coffee into his favorite ceramic mug, and went out onto the porch again. The world was quiet, his mind less so. He thought about his parents, about the values they'd instilled: hard work, kindness, humor. He thought about Paige and what she had taught him about boundaries and self-worth. He thought about Leah and how it felt to not have to perform to be loved. He thought about his business, about the veterans he'd met who wore pain like armor but laughed like kids when given the chance. And then he thought about the phrase he kept hearing in his own head: make it count. That would be his compass.